So when I first woke up this morning and I was all excited to film because the sun was filtering through my room, it was bright and orange and golden in here, and now the clouds have taken over, which is completely fine because we need the rain, so I'm totally cool if it rains today. But it's not the best lighting for videos. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing something I think I haven't done in a while. In fact, I can't remember the last one I did. So I'm going to be doing a book review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Almost Autumn by Marianne, Kaurin. And again, I'm probably saying that terribly wrong because it is a Norwegian name. So if you know Norwegian, let me know how to say it. Anyway. So Almost Autumn, this book kind of came out of the blue, completely surprised me. I had no idea it was coming out. I didn't have it on my TBR or my radar, which is interesting because I love World War II fiction, and it is a World War II YA fiction, and I knew nothing about it until I was browsing on my library's website, and I always check like daily what they have new in, and this was sitting there. I loved the cover, I found it intriguing, so I picked it up. And it was the most emotionally destroying thing I've ever done. This book has been haunting me. I didn't cry, I didn't break down, like it wasn't actually physically emotional, it just has been lingering. It's almost this haunting feeling. I was just constantly thinking and going back to this book. This is almost more thought-provoking than the Codename Verity duology was for me, or even The Book Thief. It was just so hauntingly beautiful, and I think a part of it is a lot of the writing and the characters as well, and the situations. It is October 1942 in Oslo, Norway. We open with young Elsie Stern, who is 15 years old and who's waiting at the picture show for the neighborhood boy to show up and take her on her first date. Unfortunately, Herman, the boy she's waiting for, does not show up, and she is stood up for her first date. Elsie doesn't know that the reason Herman doesn't show up is because he is part of the Norwegian underground against the Nazi regime. This book was so beautifully written, I can't even really get into describing it. So we do open with that, and you think you're following Elsie the whole time, but it actually takes the perspective of Elsie, Herman, Elsie's father, and Sonia, the older sister in Elsie's family, and then one of their neighbors who I forget the name, Isaac, I think? No. That's her father's name. But one of her neighbors as well, who's the taxi driver. So you follow a bunch of different perspectives, but it works really well with this writing. And I think what this writing is to me is it's not the physical aspect of things, it's the emotional side of things. And that's what really got me, is when all of these events start happening to this family, you're not getting the actual physical responses to these events, you're getting the emotional responses to these events, which is why this book, I think, is haunting me. So Elsie and her family, you kind of introduce that there used to be a happier time. Her father used to listen to music and sing. Her mother used to laugh a lot more, but everything is a little bit more subdued now. And then you find out that the Nazis have started to take over Norway. They all have to have J's stamped on their papers. Her father gets messages on his storefront every morning that he has to clean before the girls come help him work, that he doesn't want them to see. So there's an understanding that there's already an indifference and a hatred toward the Jewish people in Norway. So there's that slow, subtle acknowledgement of that. You also get that acknowledgement that the underground is kind of starting to take off with Herman and getting kind of recruited for that, and it hasn't really full-fledged taken off yet, but it is needing to take off really soon, really fast. So like I said, the writing was gorgeous. Some of the wording she used, some of the descriptions, just the way she wrote things, again, evoked so many emotions. I really didn't know what to do or what to think. I was just so drawn in and so pulled into this family and into this understanding and the story. I felt like I was reading someone's real life journal story. And now these are real events. These really happen to people. But these are fictional characters. These aren't real characters. But I felt like I was reading a real person's story. I felt like I was reading The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom or The Diary of Anne Frank. I felt like I was reading a book like that because it just drew me in so much. And with that, I really got pulled into these characters, got invested in these characters. They felt so real, like you could take them out of the book and put them into the real life world. And most times with historical fiction you can, but to me sometimes they still feel like fictional characters in a historical time period. These felt like real life people, real life characters that you could put into the real world. She made Elsie so understandable as a young girl who's kind of dealing with the insecurity of why Herman didn't show up. Did he take another girl? What, did he not think she was pretty? She starts to compare herself to her beautiful sister Sonia. And then you follow Sonia as well, who is wanting more out of her life. She doesn't want the expectations of her family of taking over her father's sewing shop. She wants to do her own thing, work in the drama and the theater, designing costumes. So you have the dreams and aspirations of an older girl wanting to kind of be her independent woman, have her own apartment in her own place, and kind of take off and have her own life outside of her family. So you're following her struggle as well. And also Herman with his need to want to tell people, to want to tell Elsie why he stood her up, but he can't. It's tormenting him that he can't tell Elsie why he didn't show up, that he still loves her, he still thinks she's pretty. It wasn't anything she did, he just couldn't make it. And you know, you watch his struggle as well. And then you watch the struggle of Isaac, their father, wanting to protect the girls from some of the hatred that was going on towards his people. And he would get up super early every morning to go and wash off any hate messages on his storefront before the girls would join him at work. And you just watch their spirit slowly sink and the joy kind of slowly sink into the need to protect and to just be with each other. So the characters, the writing, all of it was just so beautiful and so just emotionally draining afterwards. And then some of the events that happened was just, I couldn't fathom. Like, I didn't emotionally react to this at all until afterwards, because it's just sitting with me of what happened to these people. And like I said, they didn't give you the physical details of what happened. She almost gave you the emotional understanding of what the characters are going through. So you wouldn't have understood if you were just following orders and walking into certain areas or marching into trains and boats and cells. You wouldn't have the understanding of what is going to happen to me. You just emotionally reacted to it the way you did. And that's what she did with her writing, is you just had the characters emotionally reacting to the situations, but you could understand from the knowledge of history what was happening to them, but not from the writing in the book. But you knew. And that's what got to me. There's one scene in particular that is still haunting me, because I was reading it from the emotional reaction of Sonia, and it killed me. And it was just the audacity of what happened to these people, and to read it for someone's emotional experience was just undoing. And these stories need to continue to be told. This is a piece of history that never needs to be silenced. So we always need either fictional historical settings or real stories. They constantly need to be told. And I'm very adamant about that. And I was just very blown away by this writing. So I was just, like I said, emotionally blown away from this story. The writing was incredible. It was a fast read. It's a smaller story, but I had everything I needed. I wasn't missing information. I wasn't missing any pieces to it. It told the story fully, even though it didn't write it fully, if you get it, because it wrote very emotionally. So I think I rated this a 4-star rating. I was just completely blown away from it. It was very solidly written. I might even bump it up to a 5, just because it's just been sitting with me and sitting with me. I would recommend it for older teens, older young adults, just because of some of the content and some of the understanding of what is happening to these people. It's emotionally upsetting. I would just, maybe like middle high school, older high school kind of setting. I still don't think we need to shelter everybody from these stories. But if you can kind of emotionally handle what is happening to people, then I would recommend it for kind of middle to older high school. So if you are a fan of World War II fiction or just World War II stories in general, highly recommend this book. It is just absolutely gorgeous. And again, it happens in a country that I normally don't read from. So I've either been reading from a British ally perspective or a German perspective, and this takes place in Norway. So you get other countries that were affected by this as well. So again, highly recommended. You need to read this book. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. It was really hard to describe the writing of this book and kind of get my thoughts, just because there was a lot of thoughts about this book and about what happened. But I hope you guys enjoyed that review. I hope you guys do pick up this book and let me know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!